Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive right into the universal pain of messy professional group chats, and more importantly, exactly how to fix it. If you've ever tried to do serious collaborative research over a standard messaging app, you know exactly the kind of chaos I'm talking about. It is an absolute nightmare. So today, we're looking at a platform called Gravitas, which is designed to take that exact chaos and turn it into structured collaborative intelligence. Think about your own expert groups for a second. How often is brilliant analysis just completely lost to endless scrolling, overlapping conversations, and buried files? You've got this group of highly intelligent people, researchers, analysts, specialized experts, all trying to solve a complex case. But the actual medium they're using is actively working against them. The information is fleeting, the context easily gets lost, and those brilliant insights, they're literally pushed off the screen just because someone replied, "Thanks." To mirror the structured approach we really need to solve this, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be hitting 1. The problem with group chats. 2. Enter Gravitas and structured intelligence. 3. The anatomy of a Gravitas case. 4. Upgrading the research workflow. And finally, 5. Time saved and knowledge gained.
All right, let's jump straight into section 1. The problem with group chats and the sheer chaos of standard messaging apps. To kick things off, consider how expert groups, like astrology researchers for example, currently operate on standard apps like WhatsApp. These apps are basically like loud, totally disorganized rooms where predictions and evidence just get hopelessly mixed together. Picture the reality here. Someone posts a case with birth details. Then other members generate charts using their own separate software, and suddenly the chat floods with scattered screenshots. An analyst writes up a great observation, but right below it, someone else starts a completely unrelated case. And look at the actual cost of this workflow. Everyone is repeating the exact same work, generating identical charts on their end. Worst of all, the final conclusions, the actual verdict of the research, get completely swallowed up in the noise.
And this quote brilliantly hits the nail on the head. Knowledge is lost after discussion ends. New members cannot easily understand past reasoning. The profound tragedy here is that once a case is closed in a group chat, that hard-won knowledge doesn't just scroll away. It effectively disappears from the universe. There is zero institutional memory. If a brilliant new expert joins your group tomorrow, they have absolutely no way to review the logic, the evidence, or the conclusions of cases you guys solved last month. It's just a staggering waste of intellectual effort.
Which brings us to section 2, Enter Gravitas, Structured Intelligence, and Building a True Research Laboratory. This is where we see a radical shift in how collaborative groups can actually function. Gravitas isn't just another chat replacement. It acts as a highly focused laboratory where evidence and logic are isolated and, most importantly, preserved. Notice the specific phrasing used here, a collaborative decision intelligence platform. It pulls the case details, the required tools, the analysis, and the final conclusions right out of that messy, linear chat feed and puts them into one dedicated, structured workspace. It lets experts actually focus on what they do best, which is interpretation and reasoning.
When you compare these environments side by side, the difference is kind of night and day. While chat apps are great for casual communication, Gravitas is built specifically for knowledge retention. Think about the evidence for a second. Instead of scattered screenshots that you can't even interact with, you get live shared controls. Everyone is looking at the exact same data. And as for archiving, instead of being lost in history, every single case becomes part of a searchable knowledge base. So the crucial takeaway here is that we're moving from a transient communication tool to a permanent, valuable research asset.
Moving right along to section 3, Anatomy of a Gravitas case, Structuring the data.
So, what does this structured environment actually look like from the inside? Well, instead of an endless, ambiguous timeline, each case in Gravitas is a dedicated workspace. There is zero missing data because the system demands structure right from the jump. You've got a specific title and category. You have dedicated fields for context, like birth details, time, and coordinates. You have a rich text analysis thread that absolutely does not get interrupted by casual chit-chat. And finally, a clear, completely separate section for the final verdict.
Now this is where it gets really cool. Gravitas automatically provisions the exact tools needed for a specific category right inside the case. For example, if an astrology research group opens a career prediction case, the platform instantly provisions shared live tabs for D1, D9, and D10 charts, Vimshatri Dasha, transits, and Shadbala. The experts don't need to go open their own desktop software to calculate all these things. The evidence is just sitting there, live, ready for everyone to interpret together as a unified baseline. It's a total game changer.
But of course, with detailed case files, especially ones containing personal birth details or sensitive context, privacy is absolutely paramount. Because this data is sensitive, robust governance ensures that only authorized group members can view the information. Group admins have strict control over access start dates, member terminations, and crucially, whether a terminated user retains historical access to the archive. This is a massive upgrade from standard messaging apps, where, let's be honest, people often retain all the chat history even after they've left the group.
All right, Section 4, upgrading the research workflow, looking at the before and after. When we contrast the old, broken workflow directly against Gravitas, the efficiency is just obvious. The chaotic 7-step chat process that used to involve endless waiting and scrolling is condensed into 4 hyper-efficient macro phases. Boom, 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 boom. You post the case via a structured form. You review the shared evidence via live tabs. You conduct a structured review using rich text logs, and you finalize with an isolated output that goes straight into a clean archive. It's clean, it's linear, and it is highly focused.
Let's zoom in on the exact friction points here. Look at stages 2 and 3, shared evidence. In the old WhatsApp workflow, it takes about 15 minutes of work and up to 45 minutes of waiting just to get the charts generated and shared, purely because everyone is opening separate apps and uploading screenshots. By providing a unified baseline of charts for everyone, Gravitas completely eliminates that software redundancy. The actual work drops to 2 minutes, and the wait time? It drops to literally 0 because the shared tabs are preloaded the exact second the case is created.
And it gets even better when we look at the review and debate stages. In a standard chat, a discussion can take 30 minutes of scrolling and typing, spread across a grueling 4 hours of waiting, simply because the thread constantly drifts into casual chat or totally unrelated topics. In Gravitas, because analysts write structured, rich text directly in the dedicated case file, they don't have to wade through all that unrelated chit-chat. They log in, read the traceable logic, add their insight, and log out. The work is cut in half to 15 minutes, and the wait time plummets to just an hour and a half.
And finally, Section 5, time saved, knowledge gained. The data-driven climax of all this.
The most undeniable proof of this platform's power really lies in these aggregate time-saving metrics. Looking at the total hands-on administrative work time per case, Gravitas cuts this friction by more than half. It drops the work time from a frustrating 60 minutes of generating charts, taking screenshots, and endless scrolling down to just 25 minutes of pure, focused analysis.
But the real killer of collaborative momentum isn't just the work time, right? It's the waiting time. Even more impressively, the total asynchronous clock time, meaning the time it actually takes from opening a case to finally reaching a conclusion, plummets from a grueling 6 hours of start and stop chatting down to just an hour and a half. That is a staggering 75% reduction in wait time. Think about that. When you remove the need to generate redundant evidence and you remove the noise of a mixed chat thread, you empower experts to focus entirely on what actually matters: interpretation and prediction. It is just a massive leap in efficiency. And the best part is, the benefits don't end when the case is solved. Gravitas isolates the final prediction and moves the file to a clean, searchable archive, instantly turning past cases into reusable research data. Ultimately, every completed case transforms from fleeting chat noise into a permanent, searchable business asset. You're no longer just talking about cases, you are actively building an institutional library of resolved research that junior members can study and senior members can reference for years to come. Which leaves us with one critical question to consider about how you manage your own collaborative intelligence. Are your expert groups building a knowledge legacy, or are they just adding to the noise? It's a pretty powerful question, and taking a hard look at the tools we use to collaborate is the very first step in finding the answer. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Rethink your workflow, and I'll catch you next time.